In the headlines, APC presidential candidate Tinubu vows to implement 16-point agenda at Kwara APC rally. INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu at Chatham House says no plan to postpone elections despite challenges. Federal government concludes Konwa registration, says lecturers liberated from ASU bondage. And on the international scene, 7 soldiers killed in Al-Shabaab attack on Somali military base. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Hussaina Usman. And we begin with politics, where the presidential candidate of the All Progressives Congress, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is asking the people of Kwara State to cement their freedom by voting the APC in the upcoming elections. During the party's presidential campaign in Ilorin, the Kwara State capital, Tinubu said the freedom achieved 4 years ago will become more meaningful if APC candidates are re-elected. Tinubu, who described the broom in the party's logo as a symbol of freedom, promised to faithfully implement his 16-point plan if elected as president next month. In his remarks, the Kwara State Governor Abdurrahman Abdulrazak commended the people of the state for their overwhelming support for Tinubu and urged them to translate the love into votes on the election day. Chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Mahmood Yakubu, on Tuesday said there is no plan to postpone this year's elections in the country despite identified challenges. Yakubu, who addressed a global policy think tank, the Chatham House, says though conducting the election for about 93.4 million registered voters is a daunting task, the Commission is ready to surmount such difficulty. Yakubu enumerated challenges that could undermine the election to include insecurity, attacks on the Commission's facilities, among others, just as he acknowledged lessons learned from previous elections and the task associated with the deployment of technology to enhance the process.
Elections in Nigeria have become events that attract extensive international attention and concern, not only because of the sheer size of the deployment, but also because of the importance of Nigeria in Africa, and most particularly in the West Africa sub-region. Understandably, therefore, there are enormous expectations, both within Nigeria and internationally, about the conduct and management of the 2023 general election. The expectations place a great responsibility on the election management body, the Independent National Electoral Commission. We are not taking these responsibilities lightly. We appreciate that there are challenges and concerns, but we also realize that there is enormous goodwill and support, both in Nigeria and beyond. Consequently, we believe that by forthrightly sharing our experiences and discussing the challenges openly, we can surmount the challenges and ensure that our elections in Nigeria continue to get better.
Speaker, House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila has charged political actors to ensure that politics-related conversations seek to unite the people by highlighting an agenda of shared prosperity, social development, and respect for humanity. This is against the backdrop of increased politics-related attacks in parts of the country. The Speaker, at the resumption of plenary, noted that the nature of the political conversations, particularly in the build-up to elections, determine electoral outcomes and the quality of governance. He therefore urged Nigerians to unite and ensure that the dangerous trend of insecurity and attacks on political actors does not lead to circumstances that threaten the forthcoming general elections.
Increase in incidents of insecurity and vicious attacks on political actors in parts of the country. We must unite to ensure this dangerous trend does not lead to circumstances that threaten the forthcoming elections. The quality of the political conversations in society, particularly in the lead-up to elections, is a determining factor in the electoral outcomes and the quality of governance that will result therefrom. When political discourse seeks to unite the people behind an agenda of shared prosperity, social development, and respect for the humanity of persons, governance will also reflect these priorities. The security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. With these words, the Constitution obligates us all who swear to serve the government to do everything to protect the lives and property of all citizens and promote their well-being above all else. This obligation is central to the governing contract between the government and the citizenry. As leaders in our various communities and constituencies, we must adopt a politics of accommodation and brotherhood. And we must ensure that no insecurity threatening our country's peace can be attributed to our actions or utterances. This is our constitutional obligation and a moral duty from which we must not deviate.
Still in politics, Rivers State Governor Nyesom Wike has said the 2023 general election in the state will be a crucial moment that the electorate will use to decide against those who hate the state. Governor Wike spoke at the local government campaign flag-off rally of the PDP, which was held at Omoku town in Ogba Egbema Ndoni local government area of the state. The governor said the election will be a fight to the finish and the People's Democratic Party in the state is going to win all contested seats at the end of the day. In his speech, the PDP governorship candidate Siminalayi Fubura recounted the successes of the Wike administration, which the consolidation team will reenact.
We give our vote to those who love Rivers State. You have to listen to our leaders. Through the DG of the campaign, they will come back to you, sit you down, and tell you where we're heading to. It's a fight to finish. Do not be afraid. We are going to win at the end of the day. We have always won. We continue to win. We have never said in anything we have told you. Success has always been with us. God has been with us. This time will not be of different. God will continue to lead us. We have visited the Oba, and the Oba has done the traditional thing by blessing us and telling us, go to the sea. My people are there. They will be with you. They will stay with you. And we have seen it today.
What we stand for is good governance. Good governance is providing services. Good governance is making life easy. And that is what my principal has done for you. And that is where I stand with you. It is not enough to come here and shout, Oshope, Oshope. I want you to go back, ensure that every one of you have 10 voters attached to your votes. So that when we win, we are winning in landslide. We know we are going to win, no doubt about that, because there is no other party. Is it the horse or is it the other one? I think the only desperate one is the horse. The other one is no longer desperate. You already know what I mean.
Female candidates vying for different positions under different political parties in the North have been trained on issues relating election matters and the strategy they can adopt to perform better at the polls. The female candidates were trained in Jos, the Plateau State capital, at a 2-day capacity building training. The report.
Resource person said the training has better equipped the candidates and boosted their morale ahead of the elections, adding that they have learned what they hitherto did not know about election processes and its attendance matters.
Today we are organizing a 2-day mentoring and coaching session with female candidates who are aspiring the 2023 general election. So the training is to ensure that there is an increase in the representation of women in both the legislative and executive positions across Nigeria.
What we are telling them is, one, they need to be confident and to be conversant with the legal framework, and also to mobilize their supporters to participate in the process. How the accreditation will be done, the various mode of accrediting them, and the need for them to deploy their polling agents so that they can also help them to oversight the activities of INEC officials at the polling units.
The female candidates expressed their readiness to change the political narrative in the country by contributing meaningfully to the development of the country if given the opportunity to serve.
It all starts with encouraging yourself. You know, as a woman, as a female gender, when you come out, people look at you. Gone are the days they feel a woman starts and ends in the kitchen, it's about children, it's about no. I think with the level of exposure and enlightenment we have,
It has impacted so much on me. And some of the subjects or topics are like a refresher. When you look at my background, you check my background, you know that some of the topics I had them. I've been on the gender policy of the Nigerian Labour Congress, and that issues that has to do with gender.
The campaign has been very interesting. It's my first time running office. I must really thank my party. They've been very supportive on the platform of the African Democratic Congress. So it was a very wonderful experience running as a female candidate. They've been very supportive. The campaign, of course, has been quite interesting. Doing a lot of fundraising from friends, even sitting down to really crystallize and put my thoughts together on what is it that I really want to represent my friends, my people, my state, and also how can I be effective as a legislator when I do get to the House of Representatives.
The candidates also lamented the absence of good governance in the region, saying that they are out to address governance deficits in the respective constituencies. They also stressed that funding and other cultural belief systems have continued to portray women in politics in bad light, adding that they have come to change such negative stereotyping.
Families of some police operatives, cleaners and civilians guarding residence of late President Umar Yar'Adua, detained for 29 days without trial, have called on authorities in Katsina State to either charge them to court or grant them bail. The suspects were detained by the police in Katsina for allegedly conspiring to steal valuables belonging to the wife of late President Toure Yar'Adua. Abdullahi Yamadi speaks to the families of the detained suspects on how they are coping in their absence.
Those in detention were alleged to have taken some valuables when some suspected thieves burgled into the house, cutting away some personal belongings. However, the families of the 8 suspects said continued incarceration of their breadwinners without formal charge in court is breach of their fundamental rights, demanding that they should be arraigned before a court of law and allow justice to take its course.
Mun shiga kuncin rayuwa. Mun takura.
For the last 29 days, this family have nothing to eat. We were also denied access to our husband detained at the state CID. They say someone directed for the arrest and detention of our husband. We have been sick and exhausted. We are 24 in this family and our breadwinner is not with us.
During a visit to the house of one of the detained suspects, the family said they are in agony since the arrest of the family head 29 days ago without trial. Similarly, the children said they have been out of
We apologize for that error. Now moving on to security, police in Katsina say 4 persons abducted by bandits have been rescued. The police said operatives carried out a raid at criminal hideouts in Hongoma and Gozaki villages and succeeded in rescuing the kidnapped victims. A statement signed by police spokesman Superintendent Gambo Isa gave the names of the rescued victims as Saidu Ilia of Nasarawan Ankali village, Yusuf Umar and Abdullahi Bello from Bauchi State. The other victims are Abdullahi Bello, whom the statement said sustained a gunshot wound and was rushed to the hospital for medical attention. Isa said many of the terrorists were either killed or fatally injured during the rescue operation, adding that a team of policemen is still combing the area with a view of arresting the wounded terrorists or recovering their dead bodies. Similarly, the police in a joint operation with NSCDC and Vigilante Group raided bandits' hideout in Tamarke village in Bakori local government area, where they rescued one Abdusalam Maiwashi from Mahuta ward of Kafur local government area, kidnapped in December last year. Aggrieved women and youths in Kafinkoro in Paikoro local government area of Niger State Tuesday morning raised the Kafinkoro Police Divisional Office. The incident took place 3 days after the parish priest of St. Peter and Paul Catholic Church, Kafinkoro, Reverend Father Isaac Achi, was burned to death by terrorists after an invasion. Reports say some evangelical church winning all and Catholic women groups converged on the premises of the burnt parish on Tuesday morning to pray against those who gruesomely murdered Reverend Achi. But a police detachment from the Kafinkoro Police Division was drafted to the church, stating that it was directed to provide protection for the praying congregation. Still distraught over the inability of the police to respond on time and prevent the death of the father, the woman refused and resisted the protection provided by the police. The women were said to have accused the police of not doing anything to rescue the late Reverend Father and asked the operatives to leave. The women threw stones and sachet waters at the policemen, forcing the operatives to retreat to their station. After the prayers, some youths joined the women to march peacefully through the major roads of the town to the police division, chanting anti-police slogans to register their grievances. You're watching Trust News Update. Coming up after the break. How charcoal stove is fast becoming an economically efficient means of cooking. Stay with us.
Daily Trust presents 20th Daily Trust Dialogue. Theme: Interrogating the 2023 Presidential Agenda. Panelists:
Mrs. Ibukun Awoshika, former Chairman, First Bank of Nigeria.
Professor Jibrin Ibrahim, Professor of Political Science and member of the Board of the Center for Democracy and Development, CDD. Dr. Yetunde Anibaba, Lecturer, Analysis of Business Problems, Lagos Business School. Dr. Eugene Enahoro, Human Capacity Development Specialist and CEO, Heltoni Services Limited.
Chairman of the event, John Cardinal Onaikon, Archbishop Emeritus of Abuja.
Date: Thursday, 25th January 2023. Time: 10 a.m. Venue: NAF Conference Center and Suites, Gwarimpa Expressway, near Next Shopping Mall, Kado, Abuja. For sponsorship and branding participation, contact 081 00 49 1948, 081 65 32 0660, or 080 33 92 8902. The event will be broadcast live on Trust TV.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update, a recap of our top stories. You heard that APC presidential candidate Tinubu vows to implement 16-point agenda at Kwara APC rally. We also heard that INEC Chairman Mahmoud Yakubu at Chatham House says no plan to postpone elections despite challenges. Moving to education, the federal government says it has put all security agencies on alert to protect all members of Congress of University academics across Nigerian universities from any attacks that may arise from members of Academic Staff Union of universities. Minister of Labour and Employment, Chris Ngige, who disclosed this to journalists shortly after a closed-door meeting with the leadership of CONUA, led by its president, Niyi Sumonu, also warned the union not to behave like ASU. Ngige finalized the registration of the two newly elected or registered unions by formally presenting an official Gazette, Trade Dispute Act, and the official certificate of registration to their leaders. He charged the unions to operate fully across universities in the country without fear of intimidation, saying that the government took the decision because of the damages done to the university system by ASU. It would be recalled that an internal memo had during the weekend emerged from the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation requesting details of all members of the union for onward payment of their withheld salaries. The rising cost of cooking gas, kerosene and electricity tariff has forced urban dwellers to employ the charcoal stove option for cooking. In Makurdi, residents say this is the best highly efficient cooking option for them at the moment. Jimmy Azande reports.
Charcoal stove, popularly called Abacha stove in Makurdi, is a technology that is gradually becoming quite popular in homes and business premises. No thanks to the rising cost of cooking gas, as explained by these residents.
I want to compare the prices of gas and kerosene. 1 kg of gas is 900 naira and a liter of kerosene is 1,000 naira. Meanwhile, charcoal is a lot cheaper and anybody can afford it. You can afford at the rate of 100 naira or 200 naira, depending on the quantity you want. And most people prefer to use charcoal because charcoal is more economical. And with time, with the financial difficulties in Nigeria, people will switch from using gas or kerosene to charcoal because
that a liter of kerosene is sold at the rate of 1,000 naira or more than that. Now, talking about the prices of charcoal, we understand that with 100 naira or 200 naira, you can afford some charcoal, as an amount of charcoal that you can actually take home to come and make something for you to eat. Now, with this kind of a situation in Nigeria where there is high rate of poverty, you understand that many families are actually subscribing to the use of charcoal.
Other residents said it is stressful using the stove, but that it has become a necessity since cooking is not an option for any home.
Where gas was then sold at the rate of 500 naira, right now is 850 naira, and then at black markets we have 900 naira. So that is a very serious reason for us to switch from the use of a cylinder or gas to abacha, which the cost of abacha is simple. We have some persons who can do it for us here, and then charcoal remains 100 naira.
So most families right now, they are going for charcoal because charcoal you can buy it at the rate of 100 naira or depending to the amount you want to buy to use. But gas, a kg is 950 naira, while kerosene is 1,000 naira or even more. So here right now, I just want to say that gas and kerosene, their prices are too much for families to bear. So most families are going for charcoal right now.
On the flip side, the source of charcoal is deforestation. With climate change and its negative consequences, there may be more to worry about in the future if trees continue to fall for charcoal, firewood, and timber.
The National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control has notified the public that 2 substandard cough syrups named Abronol and DOK1 Max contain toxic ingredients. In a statement published on its website, The agency noted that the products were identified in Uzbekistan, a Central Asian nation, and reported to the World Health Organization. According to NAFDAC, laboratory analysis of samples of both products undertaken by National Quality Control Laboratories of the Ministry of Health of the Republic of Uzbekistan found both products contained unacceptable amounts of diethylene glycol and/or ethylene glycol as contaminants. On the international scene, fighters from the Al-Shabaab group stormed a military base in central Somalia that the government had recaptured from them last year, killing at least 7 soldiers, including the base commander. According to Captain Aiden Nur, a military officer in a nearby town, the assailants from the Al-Qaeda affiliate rammed the base in the village of Hawadli with a suicide car bomb on Tuesday and then opened fire. Al-Shabaab claimed responsibility for the attack in a statement, saying it had earlier killed many apostate soldiers and their commander. The base is located about 60 kilometers north of the capital, Mogadishu, and was wrested from Al-Shabaab's control in October by government forces and allied clan militias. The operation was part of a broader government offensive which began in August and has made significant gains. On Monday, the government announced it had recaptured Haradere, an Al-Shabaab stronghold on the Indian Ocean coast that it had held for a decade. And finally, in sports, Novak Djokovic began his quest for a record-extending 10th Australian Open title with a comfortable 6-3, 6-4, 6-0 victory over Spain's Roberto Carabales Baena. There had been serious concerns over Djokovic's fitness, with his upper left leg heavily strapped during practice, but the former world number 1 allayed any fears by dismantling the world's number 75. Djokovic was given a hero's welcome on Rod Laver Arena, which was full of Serbian flags in support of the 9-time champion, who was playing his first match of the 2023 tournament at Melbourne Park following last year's vaccine-related deportation. And with that, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Husseina Usman. Thanks for watching.